As you can tell from the title of this video, I will be explaining which car companies own which other car companies and trying to simplify this for you. For the purposes of this video, I will only be including cars that are sold to the US, and I will not include every single car company in the world. With that said, let's look at the big three automakers in the United States. First, we have General Motors. General Motors has four major divisions: Chevy or Chevrolet, Buick, GMC, and Cadillac. GM also owns Opel. Some of the popular discontinued GM divisions are Saturn, Pontiac, Oldsmobile, and Hummer. Now let's look at the Ford Motor Company. The Ford Motor Company has two major divisions, Ford and Lincoln. Ford also has a 2.1% stake in Mazda. Ford's most popular discontinued division was Mercury. Now let's explore Chrysler Group LLC. Chrysler Group LLC is owned by Fiat Chrysler and has four main divisions: Chrysler, Jeep, Dodge, and Ram. I'll explain Fiat Chrysler later in the video. Chrysler's most popular defunct division was Plymouth. That's it for the major three car companies in America. Now let's move on to Germany. Germany also has three major automakers: BMW, Volkswagen, and Mercedes. First is my favorite of all of them, BMW. BMW, or its formal name, Bayerische Motorenwerk AG, sorry if I butchered the pronunciation, has two main divisions, BMW and Mini. BMW also owns Rolls-Royce, but that's a very complicated issue. Now let's look at Mercedes-Benz. Mercedes-Benz is owned by Daimler AG. Daimler AG has two divisions, Mercedes-Benz and Smart. Now let's move on to the last major automaker in Germany, Volkswagen Group. Volkswagen Group's owner is a very complex issue, but for simplicity's sake, it's Porsche SE. Volkswagen Group has six main U.S. selling car divisions: Volkswagen, Audi, Bentley, Bugatti, Lamborghini, and Porsche. Again, this is very complicated. Now let's move on to the car companies of Sweden. First is Koenigsegg, which is just by itself. Then we have Saab, which is just by itself, and Volvo, which used to be part of Ford, but now it's pretty much just by itself. Wow, Sweden is really simple. Now let's move on to the United Kingdom. We've already mentioned most of the United Kingdom car companies because they are owned by other car companies in other countries. First, let's go into Jaguar Land Rover. Jaguar Land Rover's parent company is Tata Motors of India. Jaguar Land Rover has two main divisions, if you may have guessed there, Jaguar and Land Rover. Next, there's Lotus, owned by Proton, and last, there's MG, owned by SIAC Motors. Next, let's move on to South Korea, where there is basically one. There's Hyundai, which owns Kia. Very, very simple. Next, we have Japan, which has probably the most. First, there's Toyota, which owns Scion and Lexus. Then there's Honda, who owns Acura. Nissan, who owns Infiniti. Suzuki, who is partly owned by VW. Then Mazda. Then Isuzu. And then lastly, Mitsubishi. Lastly, we have Italy, where there's mainly one company, Fiat Chrysler. Fiat Chrysler owns Chrysler Group LLC, Alfa Romeo, Fiat, Lancia, Maserati, and Ferrari. Inside of Chrysler Group LLC, as we have mentioned before, there's Chrysler, Jeep, Dodge, and Ram.